Hi. Listen, I'm just jumping on here real quick today. It's not usually the time that I come on live. I usually do that the second and fourth Wednesday of each month. But I just had this epiphany this morning that I wanted to share with you. So let me take just a moment here to set up my screen so that I can share. Oh, it's going to be like that, huh? There we go. So that I can share some slides that I made up to tell you what I'm talking about today. There we go. Okay. So this is the perfect weekend for you to do something for yourself, to make this a transitionary weekend for you. And because I don't normally do an episode on Saturday, last Wednesday or 2 Wednesdays ago was episode 106, and the one coming up this coming Wednesday is 107. So I labeled this episode 106-2 because it's coming in the middle of the sessions that I normally do. So here's what's going on. The time is absolutely right and ripe this weekend. Now, if you're watching this in the future, this is the weekend of February 6th and 7th, 2021. And what's happening energetically is for the last 5-6 days to a week, including today on Saturday, the energy of the planet, the human design, astrology, whatever energy that system that you know about, has been perfect for us to be kind of holding back and looking at what's been holding us back, contemplating at things we can change, or have we fallen into bad habits. That's all up to today. And then starting tomorrow for the next 5, 6, 7 days is the time of creating something new. So this Saturday to Sunday is the perfect weekend for you to make this into a transitioning weekend. Now, if you don't know me, which you possibly might not, my name is Carrie Fox, and one of my main missions in life is to be a constant reminder for people, for you, for everyone to remember your infinite wisdom connection, that you are a part of the energy of the universe, of the love of God. The bigger you can possibly think of, the better. But we get so lost and so confined into thinking we're just this 3D human being on planet Earth, and we have to fight and struggle, and we have to be anti what other people are saying, and we have to take sides. And that's human. And that's not who you really are. Who you really are is a piece of the energy of divinity and God and love and all of that stuff. So that's why I do these episodes. And basically it's because of a passion that I have, and that's your thriving. The more of us that turn into people that are living a life of thriving on the planet Earth, the faster we're going to change this type of world that we've been living in. Okay, so now for what's happening right now for this weekend, I'm going to, I was going to say beg you, encourage you to find some time this weekend to make this your transition weekend, for you to look at and get some clarity from the old into the new, more joyous, more fun, more loving you. And this is what I'm talking or suggesting that you do. Number one is stop. Take a step back from your hectic schedule. Take a step back from watching another TV show. Take a step back from the kind of life that you've been living, and just take 10 minutes for yourself or 15 minutes for yourself, and get away from the noise. Shut off the news. Get away from people if you can. I have a client that I have for years, and he used to get in his car when we do our sessions, and he'd go someplace and park by a park, or if it was a Sunday, he'd park in the parking lot of a corporation because there was no cars in the parking lot. And that was the way for him to find a quiet space to stop and get away. He'd go get in his car. So for you, whatever it takes, give yourself this gift. Take 10, 15 minutes right now if you can. If you're watching this on a replay, you can stop the video and spend this 10 or 15 minutes. If you're watching it live, then you do this after we're done. And what I want you to do, number one, is to grab something to write with. Grab a pen and paper and decide to sit down and actually get some clarity on and think about what makes you happy. What can you do creatively that lights you up and that brings you joy? What makes you happy? You, not somebody else trying to make you happy. Don't think that Bill can make you happy or Jennifer can make you happy. This is 100% yours, baby. What can you do to create more joy in your life? Now, for me, that's just really easy because I have something that brings me ecstasy, and that is singing. I love, love, love to create notes. And I love, love, love to create notes, especially when I'm with some musicians who are doing their thing and they're creating their notes and I'm creating my notes. And each note and each set of notes is connected together live, being created in the moment. There is nothing more wonderful in my life than creating notes with other people. Now, when I started singing when I was 16, that was rock and roll, and I've more moved into more smooth jazz and swing kind of music, but it's the same joy for me, that absolute moment where I just kind of, I call it, I go bye-bye. And there's times I don't even know that there's an audience out there. I just know that I'm in this zone where I'm creating notes with other people who are creating notes with me. That brings me joy. Now, what that actually looked like when I was on the road singing was like this. Here I am in my 20s singing with a band called Something Happened. And it was just this wonderful time of creating notes with these gentlemen. I miss you guys like crazy if any of you might possibly see this. So your homework, or whatever you want to call it, your task, my pleading for you is to spend 10 or 15 minutes, pen in hand, and write down and get clarity on the things that you can do that make you happy, that bring you joy, that elate you. Maybe it's dancing. Maybe it's doing pottery. A lot of people love gardening. They love touching that soil. Maybe it's doing woodworking or crafting or bowling. I don't care what it is. Get some focus on things that when you're doing them, when you're creating them, that your whole body, all the energy of your body is encased in the energy of joy. And then we're going to look at cultivating a new habit for you so that you can decide to bring that joy into your life every day. And maybe once a week, take a whole day where you're just going to do things that make you joyful, or a half a day, or an hour every day. It's time to bring joy back into your life. Now, not later, because you know what? When you schedule something for later, it never happens. It doesn't happen. So do it now. Sit down with that pen and paper and look at and think about and get clarity on something that you can do that brings you joy and happiness and laughter and playfulness and all those good things. Now, don't put it off. Do it now. Do it now. So that's step number one, is to figure out what really brings you joy. Bring that back into your body when you're thinking about it. Second thing I want you to look at is, what's stopping you? What stopped you from doing that joyful thing yesterday or last week or last month or for the last year, whatever it's been? What has been stopping you from creating your joy? Again, give yourself 10 or 15 minutes and see what excuses you come up with for why you haven't been making yourself joyful, playful, and having fun. And also, once this step is been brought into your life, be prepared for things to sneak in tomorrow or the day after, now that you've planted that thought in your body of what's been stopping me. All of a sudden, you're going to recognize things like some old story that you keep pulling forth. Maybe it's a story of how busy you are. Oh my God, how many of us say, I don't have time? Make time. Make time for the things that are joyful for you. Absolutely, this is important. So whatever your old stories are, I don't sing because when I was 7 years old, my mother told me I sounded terrible. Whatever old stories you're bringing in, look at them and identify them, because you can't get rid of them if you don't recognize them. So thoughts that come into your head, the old stories that you're carrying with you, figure out whatever it is that has been holding you back, including the habit of distractions. Do you have any idea how many people waste hours and hours and hours and hours a week watching TV and reruns of TV and movies and reruns of movies and all of those things? That's nice, but that's unnecessary to your personal growth. That is unnecessary to your thriving and living your grand adventure. So take the time and figure out what's been stopping you from doing these joyful things every day of your life, where you are having fun like a sing-along, whatever it's going to be for you to create joy. What's been stopping you? And this weekend, this now is a perfect time for you to take an hour today, an hour tomorrow, whatever. Do it this weekend. Let this be your transition weekend. Our focus is on creating moments of joy in your life every single day. So that happens to be step number 3, is decide, once you recognize what brings you joy, once you recognize what's been holding you back, then decide to start doing that. Decide to commit to it. In my situation, because it's COVID and we're all separated, I'm going to find a place in my great room where I'm going to set up a speaker and a microphone, and I'm going to try to find some old tracks of the bands that I used to sing with, and I'm going to start singing again every single day and building up my voice. So that's what I'm going to do, is starting today, I'm going to dig out some recording equipment, some speakers, microphones, and I'm going to set myself up a little where I'm going to start singing again every single day, even if it's for 10 minutes. I hope to do it that an hour of every day I'm going to be singing and creating songs and bringing that joy into my life every day. So the third step for you, decide whatever brings you joy. Commit to it, focus on it, and you're going to succeed. So because this is this great time this weekend to make this weekend a transitional weekend for you, again, find some clarity on what you might do that'll bring you joy, number 1. Number 2, identify what's been holding you back. Number 3, decide to create joy every single day. Now, as I said, I normally don't do something like this on a Saturday. So I'm going to tell you that the next regular on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month is this Wednesday coming up. And it's going to be on the importance of grounding. And it's 1 o'clock on Wednesday, Central Standard Time. And it's on Facebook at Harmony Enterprises with Carrie Fox. And then later will be transferred onto YouTube. That's what's happening on Wednesday. Thanks for allowing me to jump in here and rant and rave about this inspiration I had this morning. Again, my name is Carrie Fox. I'm with Harmony Enterprises, and your thriving is my passion. So the number one thing I have to say to you is go do it now. Go create some joy. Bye for now.